Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of The Right Stuff, a Blood Bowl podcast brought to you by Empire Games. Coming out of sometimes lovely, always upsetting Anderson, South Carolina. I'm Yannie, here with Nathan.
Hello. We only got about 6 games to cover this week, and we plan on talking about the Secret League some as well.
Yeah, we're divulging all the secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's playoff madness around here, or playoff sadness even.
For some people,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, our 6 games, I mean, every single game results in the elimination of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So, how the predictions going so far? Somebody's like way ahead, right?
Yeah, I feel like there's like one person who has most of their top 4. Well, I think there is one bracket with their top 4, final 4 still remaining. Most other people are dead in the water.
It's funny how you can't even crowdsource a perfect bracket, even in something as simple as like a Blood Bowl league, right?
Yeah.
There's just so many things that can go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, yeah, you look at something, of course, they always have the myth of the perfect bracket in the NCAA tournament, but that's 68 teams.
Yeah.
This is only 16, and still, it's like impossible. But I mean, if you took a bracket from the Sweet 16 onward, you probably wouldn't get it right. So
right.
That's just the fun of prediction, is you never know how everything's going to play out. And I think we definitely have some games we qualify as upsets this week.
Yeah. And I mean, quite a few of those games didn't play out the way we were expecting in the slightest.
Yeah. So we'll just jump right into it with our round 1 games. So we had, first up, the Skip and Bite Skitter Stars and Little Titans of Mayhem. This is a game, I think, when we were predicting it, we were I think there was arguments you could make for either side.
Yeah. And my initial read on the game was that there's like a good chance that Coop scores some touchdowns in the first half, and he might score enough that despite getting beaten up, Juan could come back and score like once, and Coop would still score enough touchdowns to win the game despite most of his team being trashed. Mm-hmm. What I did not expect was for Coop to score a bunch of points, and then also trash Juan's team.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. It was a 3-0 absolute trouncing.
Yeah.
That did not make it the full 16 turns.
No. When was the last time you saw a snotting player concede a game? It was, I mean, not in the regular season. Not ever, right?
Like, not unless Mork got killed on turn 3.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Juan took an entire roster's worth of injuries.
And, I mean, he brought more than a roster's worth with him, right? So, yeah, I mean, it was like 13 injuries in one game, which is probably a league record that will stand for quite some time.
Yeah. Yeah, unless Austin decides to play Snottlings. But yeah, that is a wild.
We have to send him down in an intervention. We're all here because we love you, Austin, and we don't want you to destroy your sanity playing Snottlings for a season.
Yeah, the Blood Bowl teams will start some sort of players association.
Yeah,
and have collective bargaining for Austin to give them proper medical leave. But yeah, so Juan's obviously did not get to take the full, like, Snotling suite you would expect normally because of the way that Coop's roster was set out. Which probably also had an impact, like, on the way that game went. Like, you have to pick your inducement plan.
Yeah,
differently.
You have to pick. So apparently, Juan has also been suffering from sleep deprivation lately due to baby-induced waking hours, and so apparently he came to the game half-addled from maybe like 4 hours of sleep or something at the time, and so yeah, he only had the 1 star, he only had Morg. Bomber was like counterspelled. Juan just bungled the way the inducements went or something like that. I don't think it mattered. I think you could have given Juan Bomber in that game, and based off of what Coop rolled and how it played out, I think Juan still ends up like tabled. So yeah, I mean the biggest noteworthy event of the game wasn't Juan's injury; it was the fact that the 6 strength rat ogre got killed.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
Yeah. That is, I think, a thing you can take as a moral victory, like going into the next game. It's like, okay, I think people have different perspectives on things. Like sometimes you lose in the playoffs, and you're like, I hope whoever beats me wins the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you can say like, oh,
I lost to the best team in the league.
Yeah. Other people are going to do a scorched earth and be like, I want no joy for you ever in your life.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take your team to the abyss with me.
Right. You're Mordred climbing up the spear to stab Arthur one last time,
Yeah.
Mortally wounding them. And like, yeah, you might be dead, but guess what? You're not the King of England anymore.
Yeah. So that seems to be what happened here. That rat ogre losing that rat ogre, I think, was a huge part of that roster, just like the way it was set up.
So I mean I guess we'll get into it once we get into the next game for Coop. But yeah, you had a 6 strength block rat ogre, who I also think had like tackle.
Yeah.
And that is suddenly no longer. And yeah, it had a movement down, but it feels like a star player at that point, right? Mm-hmm. Like slightly adjusted stats, and a pretty noxious set of skills. If your game plan is to get away from strength 6 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's the big takeaway from that one, is that you can win a Blood Bowl game and still lose quite a bit.
Yeah, that's happened a lot this season, but we will just call that Chekhov's injury. We got a lot of Chekhovs in this episode.
Yeah.
Up next in that bracket, we had the Gondolin Glory Hounds and Slaughterhouse 11. If you would like to.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you're preparing for like some of the really tight Blood Bowl play if you're gonna play against Jim. And so he had a lot of SPP, and I didn't know how he was going to spend it before the game. And so he opted to just take one total skill, and that was wrestle on the line, which against me is like, wrestle's probably at its worst against my team. It's not awful against my team, despite the amount of juggernaut that I have. But there are situations where I can juggernaut blitz a wrestler, and they may as well not even have the skill, right? So I had 14 on my roster left over from the. No, I had 15 on my roster left over from the Jennings match, and I opted to cut one, and that gave Jim 210 to play with. What I wanted to do was kind of tempt him into taking Maple, since Maple clocks in at 210, because I felt like I don't think it was correct for him to take Maple, but maybe he wanted to try it out just to see, right? He did not take the bait there. He instead took a wizard and a keg with his inducements. And the wizard was the thing I was actually worried most about, because I think it makes protecting the ball really, really hard. And so I knew I was going to have to play around the wizard. And I opted to kick the ball to him. I won the option. And he did the full elf retreat into the backfield. And I was actually slightly worried about that maneuver, because that meant that I wasn't going to get to do like the full amount of damage to him. I was kind of hoping to force him to score quick and then play safe for that half and try to get the wizard fired off and then do what I can to mitigate the wizard damage. Like, that was the way I envisioned the game playing out. And the way Jim envisioned the game playing out was stall the whole first half and score on turn 8, then kick the ball to me, use the wizard to force the turnover, and either keep the score 1-0 or take the ball and score, go up 2-0, at which point the game's basically locked up, right? That was the way Jim envisioned the game playing out. Now, neither of us envisioned Jim's luck being kind of wacky. Jim was not. I wouldn't consider Jim unlucky during the course of the game, but where Jim got lucky, he got unlucky in equal parts in other aspects of the game, right? So it balances out to like even luck. He was like, anytime he knocked one of my players over in the first half, he broke armor. And like the first 2 blitzes that he threw resulted in one of my players coming off the pitch. The very first blitz that he threw without Mighty Blow resulted in a casualty against like a Korngor. And then the next blitz that he threw KO'd like the block tackle Korngor with guard. Like just took that, and that was like a big hit because I really wanted all the tackle I could have on the pitch. But ultimately, Jim's dodge rolls were pretty bad during the course of the game. He rolled quite a few 1s. And my team's pretty good at forcing dodge rolls because of the amount of 4 strength pieces with guard that I have. When he did the full retreat, I sent my team up, but I didn't like overcommit. And my goal was to kind of like press him into the very back of his field, and then try to leave enough stuff back that if he tried to make a break around my team, I could rush the team over, swamp wherever the ball ended up being. And I tried to like cut his team in half. Like I wanted to isolate some of the elves on one side, then force the elf group with the ball to make their mad dash to try to get around me, and then collapse my team on all of that, and while trying to keep the rest of the elves at bay. And he ended up being able to like cut through the middle because he had taken out like 2 pieces at this point, so I didn't have like the bodies that I needed to stop him from making some dodges through the center of the field. He just made like some 3-ups. That was before his dodge rolls went completely sideways. And so I managed to KO the 1 agility catcher, who was certainly a concern of mine because I felt like Jim could engineer 1 turn score with the 1 agility dude who's got sidestep with just like a little bit of work, not really have to put a whole lot of effort into it. And so I KO'd that player. That was the only armor that I broke in the first half. And so we're at about like turn 6 or so, and Jim's he's set up to try to stall out the rest of the half. And I bring the house onto his team. I like completely box in his elves. He's got 1 kind of like escape hatch that he can run through. And I've managed to pull a player around in front. And so he goes to blitz that 1 player and snakes the dodge. And this is like his 3rd activation of the turn. Snakes that dodge, and I get like 5 or 6 hits into elves in that turn. And that's basically the ball game. I knock all those elves down, break 0 armor, but I do pop the ball loose, recover it, and Jim is forced to use the wizard on my Korngor, who makes the breakaway from the rest of the scrum. And he frogs it to keep it from scoring. He blitzes 1 other piece that I had that was in scoring range as well. And the only model that was even close to the end zone was the Bloodspawn, who was 8 spaces away. Now, I set up this really ingenious chain push on the next turn, and I get a chain push into the Bloodspawn to move it 7 spaces away. But I have to use my blitz. The Bloodspawn has to roll a 4-up to activate, which he gets, and he has to roll a 4-up to pick up the ball, which he fails. through the loner. But I was very close to getting the big guy touchdown to go up 1-0 at the half and then get the ball back. And that would have felt really amazing. But instead, we go into the half 0-0, and the second half is just all me. I get 3 casualties with the blood spawn. The ball is basically never in danger. Jim never like commits to try to get the squad. Like he just never cage dives because he was afraid of his whole team getting murdered. I rattle off like 3 casualties and I surf a handful of more elves throughout the course of the half, and I score on turn 8. And Jim sets up for the 1 turn and snakes like a dodge or a go for it to set up the chain push that he needed. So he was actually pretty close to tying it up on 16 with a 1 turn, but fortunately for me, he snaked at the wrong time. I think some people might look at the game, see like a 1-0 victory for me, and think that the game they may not realize how close that game was, because it was pretty tight. Like basically 2 snake eyes away from me losing that game. So.
Yeah. Excellent recap. I mean, yeah, like when I saw the score, I was like kind of surprised. I was expecting like
a 2-1.
2-1.
The gymming one way. Like one of us gymmed the other.
Yeah, something. Or even if it was like, someone like scored twice in a row and someone's on like a miraculous comeback.
That might be the least scoring playoff game that I've played. I think especially with Corn. A lot of the games that I played with Corn end up 2-1, but I've played my fair share of 3-2 games in the playoffs. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, that ended out round 1 for bracket A. Bracket B, round 1. First game up, we had Arbor Vitae and Renegades of Funk. So, what I was looking at this game, so my understanding was the Inducent game was getting played kind of heavily.
Yeah.
And
they went back like 5 or 6 times, back and forth.
And I think that from what Wayne was saying, he was trying to keep Sean off of a full wizard.
Yes. Yeah.
And was successful in that, but ended up giving him Horatio Schottenheim.
Yeah.
A coach, or like 1 extra staff, and a weather mage. We will dub this Chekhov's mage.
Yeah. Yep.
So this game was not really the way that people kind of expected it, just over the course of it.
Right.
Big thing that happened, I think it was turn 2, War Dancer injured itself.
Yeah, so. On a go for it, no less. It was the jump up War Dancer. Made a go for it and just rolled a 1. Didn't snake it. Wayne just was like, this isn't worth re-rolling. You guys got jump up. Provided he doesn't stove his own head in, then surely he'll be fine on the next turn, and boom, injury, out of the game.
Yeah, and at a point where it's like you can't really afford to apothecary it, because like you need...
It's turn 2.
Yeah, it's turn 2, and you're not guaranteed to get that player back on the pitch.
Yeah,
because it was like a passing down.
You need the tackle. Dude. Like the War Dancer that has tackle. You need that for the Dark Elf, right?
Yeah. So
the only thing that can stop a bad elf with block dodge is a good elf with tackle.
Yeah. So that kind of I think put a big damper on Wayne's defensive drive. Like Sean was able to kind of just like bulk up, kind of go. Do what he needed to do, and
like left Wayne with like 2 players. He KO'd every time he touched a wood elf that they get KO'd.
Yeah, not the place you want to be, but that's the pain of 8-hour routines, I guess. Like sometimes it's just sometimes people are gonna be rolling those it's like what 40-something% for A+.
Get to break, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
it's basically. When an 8 armor player falls over, if your opponent can roll a 6, they're taken off the pitch.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of the odds. And so like you will play against somebody who will just rattle off like 3 to 4 6s in a row. Just imagine that being players taken off the pitch, because that's like similar odds within a couple of percentage points.
Yeah. So going to the second half, I saw a little bit of the second half, and it looked like Wayne was kind of in like a decent position. The ball carrier was kind of hiding under the tree, and ended up making a break for it and scoring on turn 16, leaving Sean with a turn 16. So the weather in this game was pouring rain.
Yeah.
Not much at the beginning, but I think that influenced Sean's decision to buy Weather Mage.
Yeah. You get to know the weather before you buy inducements.
Yeah. So he knows the weather. He bought the Weather Mage. Turn 16, pops the Weather Mage, and then goes through a series of miraculous rolls to get a 1 turn. Do you know all of the rolls? It was like...
Okay, so first off, the goblin was KO'd.
Okay.
So the goblin had to come back from KO, which it did.
So 50%.
4 up. Then you got to pick up the ball. And I think Wayne had kick.
Mm-hmm.
So the ball ends up like in the backfield. And so he gets a favorable kick.
Yeah.
Which those odds are probably like 30-something% or so of it scattering in the direction that means that you can even attempt the 1 turn. It didn't scatter quite far enough. The kickoff event, I can't remember what the result of that was. I believe that advantaged Sean, but I'm not entirely, I don't remember exactly. The player picks up the ball successfully, has to make 2 go for it's.
3 up. So, okay.
Yeah.
So we're at... They make calculators for these things.
Yeah.
But it's like for the first 2 rolls, it's like 12%.
Yeah.
Ignoring kickoff and other stuff.
Yeah.
So what, 3 plus pickup?
Yeah, 3 plus
that?
pickup.
So,
I think maybe it was the elf, so it was like maybe a 2 plus, but
okay.
it was still 2 go for it's after that.
Okay, so that's like... I don't even know at this point. 9, like 6% at this point.
And then hand off to the goblin who needs a 3.
Okay, so...
That's another... that's like
4%.
Yeah. The ogre has to make a throw. The ogre has to pass the bonehead, which he did.
Okay.
Makes the throw, which he did. The ogre's got pro, so that like adjusts the odds somewhat. And I believe Sean had a team reroll.
Okay.
At least 1 remaining, possibly 2. And then the throw is good. The scatter can't be back too far, right? So you need like net neutral results on the scatter. Then the goblin has to land, and I believe the goblin landed in 2 tackle zones. And it landed successfully. Then it's got to make 3 dodges, and I believe 1 go for it. And Sean passed all of these rolls with no rerolls. None.
Yep.
So, yeah. And that iced the game right there. No overtime. Just roll it.
Yep. It was a 2-1 win for the Renegades of Funk. I don't know, honestly, at that state in the game who would have been favored if it went to overtime.
So Wayne was down a bunch of players. Now, if Wayne gets the ball, it's unlikely. Well, I don't say unlikely. Wayne has the ball in OT. It's possible he could score the whole, like he could stall the whole drive. Wood Elves are particularly good at that. Wood Elves are so good at stretching the field. And depending on how many players he got back at that point, because he would have had 1 more roll at it. And I think his KO rolls were pretty bad, from what I understand, because I think there were 8 in the KO box, and only like 3 of them came back, and then only like 1 of those came back after that. And so I think he still had like 4 players in the KO box. I don't know how many people would have been hurt through the. I don't think anybody got hurt. Oh, Sean had to make a successful block to free up the ogre, so that the ogre could go move forward 1 square to throw the goblin slightly further.
Okay.
So anyway, suffice it to say, and the goblin apparently scattered sideways 3 times, so it didn't scatter up or down any. He could have gotten slightly luckier and scattered like past the wood elf line, but some percentage of the scatter means you land on a wood elf, and that ends the turn right there, right? So landing in 2 tackle zones is pretty fortuitous, and in the first place. But yeah, I mean, I think if it gets to OT, it's who gets the ball first.
Yeah.
Probably wins the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wayne getting the ball first might mean it could possibly go to kicks.
Yeah.
But at least a Wood Elf touchdown is like almost assured. If they have possession of the ball, whereas Renegades, depending on who's in play, maybe not, right?
Oh, right. One more game in this first round, capping it, was Those Who Wander and Oops, mostly Nerdlings.
Did you get a chance to see any of this one? This one I was keeping up with through tour play.
I saw a small amount.
Okay.
Like I walked by the table like one time. But I think this was just the game. It was like the power of the full inducement package.
Yeah.
Like that you get. So because Chase is getting over 1,300.
Mm-hmm.
So his inducements, he has Ref, 3 Bribes, Rookies, Wizard, Morgue, Skitter, Giant.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot of stuff.
It was a lot of stuff. And Skitter, I think, having played against Will in the season, I feel like Skitter is something that is kind of a pain for that team, just a little bit, because it's so much.
It can stay outside your reach and then get to the other side of your reach.
Yeah.
Like with like a little bit of like one mistake in positioning. Right. Suddenly there's a cloud of snotlings. And Chaos Chosen, even if you've got like a 2-heads guy, you don't necessarily want to be dodging all the time.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is like, obviously you talk about snotlings and how they are never removed from the pitch at the proper rate unless you're one, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's like a thing too, where it's like if you just end up not killing a snotling one turn, all of a sudden that's like tying you up and the Skitter just runs by and it's like that's gonna end the game. Another factor in this game was that it was sweltering heat.
Yeah, that's obviously way worse for the Chaos Chosen, right?
Yeah.
And I think Will went in the game with like 12, 13, 14, something like that. I would have been really tempted to empty out the treasury. I don't. Did Will take any inducements? Did he take a ref? I think maybe he took a ref.
Yeah, we have the technology to see.
Yeah.
I know. It seemed to me like the game kind of went through the.
He didn't. I talking to him because I talked to him the day before because he watched.
He did take a ref.
Okay. We were chatting prior to the game the day before because he watched me and Jim play. He came by to witness that game, and we chatted afterwards and we talked strategy. He did not have enough money to freeboot Morgue before the game. I told him I'd be tempted to just take like a Borak or somebody, just take some big hoss of a star player just to put on the pitch, or maybe even take a gutter runner just to counterspell the gutter runner.
Yeah.
And like if he takes Skitter there, then Chase is priced into like Hack Flim or something like that, right? You actually come out ahead on your inducements there. You pay 150, the other player has to take 210. Or if Chase isn't like paying attention, because if you take Skitters, it costs 150, and it looks like maybe you took a wizard, and so maybe you get to counterspell Skitter. I don't know. There's a lot of ways to play it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it seems like it was just like a situation where Morgue did enough damage. Like I'm sure
it didn't go like
in.
It didn't look like it went crazy, but it looked like he did some damage.
Yeah, yeah. It was like 3 injuries, 4 of the chosen, like 1 death.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a skilled player. We'll get into that in the in memoriam section.
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, lots of fouling going back and forth. So that's probably like KOs that we. It looked like there were a lot of KOs when I walked by.
Yeah.
And like KOs plus sweltering heat
adds up.
Is gonna put you in this position where you can't really stop. Like Skitter being able to run at the end of the game.
Yeah, there were a lot of snotlings who got beaten up, but really it's not the snotlings on the team that you got to worry about, right? Like if you can take out a troll or the giant or Morgue or something like that, your win percentage goes way up very fast.
Yeah. So that finished out our first round.
Yes.
And we have a round 2 game in each bracket we can talk about.
Yes.
Well, a game and a half.
Yeah,
Bracket A, we had Darn Tootin' and the Skater Skitter Stars.
Yeah. The note that I wrote down was 1 minute you were tabling snotlings, and the next you're conceding to dwarves before halftime.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. And I think part of this was due to, I would think, in some extent, Jurgen's inducement of Thorin Corinson.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy as a bias draft.
Yeah, actually, it's really funny because I think Jurgen correctly attributed Warren for that inspired pick because he saw that and was like, "Oh, this guy's insane! I gotta take this guy." Took it, and then both of the gutter runners got ejected.
Mm-hmm. One of them getting ejected turn 1.
Yeah,
I think that sets the pace.
Yeah,
for a game.
When Coop was playing it tight on that list. He did not have room for errors.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He did not have room to get super unlucky. And I think for the vast majority of the season, that's what happened. Like Coop stayed on the right side of the luck curve. In this game, it went off the rails.
Yeah. I almost wonder if it would have been. I don't know exactly what his treasury situation looked like, but obviously he had to buy. He bought a new rat ogre for the game.
And so the major difference there is now you have a rookie rat ogre.
Yep.
No skills whatsoever, which is like different than what people had at the start of the league because we were able to give skills out. Yeah. So a rookie rat ogre is basically unheard of in the league, unless you're Austin, and but you don't have Juggernaut. You don't it's just 0 skills. No way to skill it. The only way to skill it is by having it murder dwarves in this game.
Yeah, and you need the rat ogre is a piece you want for the next game, so you have to take it now and try to get something on it. But at that point, also you're just
you're not knocking dwarves over with Skaven without the rat ogre.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what. And the thing is because Jurgen had his runner, the 5 strength one, kicked out of the game. Jurgen was the overdog by 20k or something in this game. And so Jurgen took Thorin Corinson. Coop took Bomber and I think a bribe or something.
Yeah.
And that didn't matter.
Yep. Yeah, the worst. It's one of the worst scenarios for you, obviously.
Yeah.
Taking the bribe, not even ever getting to use it.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would have been, if he had the treasury, if it would have been worth hiring another gutter runner just because that's another fast piece you could keep away from the dwarves.
Yeah.
Jurgen was down one of his 8-speed players. The other one is a blodger, but it's only can go one place on the field, and Coop had gotten a couple of players with tackle.
Yeah.
So with an assist he might be able to get 2 dice to randomly knock that player over.
Yeah, even 1 die is okay, right?
Yeah. And also Jurgen probably is not going to risk in a game like this where it's that is your only fast sure hands piece. If he tries to put it out there and make a play with it and it gets fouled out of the game, it's lower armor it's already the premier target because it's lower armor than everything else. That would be a situation where I think it's if you had just another random rookie gutter runner, it's hey, you just have an agility 2 piece that you can run around. I think pressing the speed advantage might have been the move.
Yeah. Or if Coop had known that Thorin Corinson was as insane as it is against a team that's dedicated to fouling, maybe Coop spends his treasury on trying to become the overdog.
Yeah.
And then you just overdog Bomber, and then John doesn't have enough money for Thorin.
Yeah. Thank you, Warren, for Thorin Corinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the first gutter runner got sent off turn 1. The next runner got set off on turn 7.
The concession was on turn 7.
Yes, immediately after that. I was watching the game.
Yeah, I was keeping track of it too. I was not in the store, but where I was at, there were several people who had vested interest in the outcome of the game, and we were talking about it. And I looked away from the game for 15 seconds. I looked back and I was like, "What? A concession? What happened here?"
Yeah, I was the first thing that came to my mind was did not realize. I don't know. Did he knock out every other player or something? And then I saw that it was just a regular concession, not a
Yeah.
like a no fault. Like, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, it's like you lost to your giant rat ogre, you lost your 2 scoring threats. It's like you can kind of see the writing on the wall.
Yeah. Bomber's not in the game. You probably lost control of the ball somewhere on this drive, or at the very least, the dwarves are like fixing to score. You might have 7 players to try to field offense with. You don't have anybody who can dodge, and you're just standing there and having to fight the whole time. And it's also possible because Thorin, if you roll a 1 and argue the call, Thorin kicks out the coach, kicks out the player in question, and then kicks out somebody else at random. And so it's possible on that second ejection, Coop rolled a 1 for like argue the call and lost an additional player.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know the full circumstances of it, but if that happened, then you're down. Like you might be putting 5 people on the pitch for offense. Skaven's going to struggle with that if none of those players are gutter runners.
Yeah. Yeah. That puts Jurgen into the, I guess, semifinals.
Yeah.
So now we're going to see where it goes from there. Obviously, his team is back to almost full health. So that he made us through the tough game, I think. That we were most worried about.
That was the game we felt he was the most vulnerable in. And then when the Rat Ogre died, we talked about how I actually think Jurgen's in really good shape going into that game because I don't know how he was going to deal with the 6-strength Rat Ogre, but he didn't have to. So, like a rookie Rat Ogre, I mean, like, how many dwarves is that going to kill? There's like a good chance you just skull both down with the Rat Ogre because it's got Frenzy. You have to basically throw hits with it every turn if you want a chance to even peel a dwarf, to put dwarves on the pitch in the first place, because you need dwarves on the pitch so you can foul them because that's the way Coop was playing. And so if you skull both down on your Rat Ogre, like that might just be it. That might just be turnover, and that might be the game, right? And so. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't love Coop's position going into that game. And because Jurgen's team, like unwittingly, Jurgen's team was like optimized to play against that Skaven team the way the Coop had drawn it up. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, who knows?
Yep. All right, 1 game left. Bracket B, we had a rehash of the Shahan Bowl.
Yeah.
Renegades of Funk, Rag and Bone.
Yeah, and I think that game was like a snake's dodge away from being really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And because the first half was scoreless.
Yeah, Sean was saying that Sean was able to knock the ball away from Sean as Sean was going to score his touchdown, and Sean put the ball into the crowd, and it bounced back onto Sean's half of the field, and then Sean went and picked it up, and Sean threw it even further into Sean's half of the field.
Yeah,
I hope you're following at home.
That's preventing Sean from scoring.
Yes. Yeah. Sean on Sean violence. What is happening here? And yeah, I mean, what ended up happening was just like removals. Like, Undead was able to just consistently take more players.
Yeah, I think that's the Undead games that we've seen them dominate. I don't even know if dominate's the right word for this game. The ones where the Undead come out ahead and eke whatever advantage they have, it's been the ones where they out-attrition people. And I think Sean lost like 2 zombies, and that's it. Yeah. Right. Meanwhile, you had like the Goblin got taken out on one drive, and so that meant that the 1 turn option was off the table, right? You made 1 miracle happen. Why can't you make 2, right? You need the second miracle for Sainthood anyway. So the Dark Elf was lined up, and this is one of those classic blink and you miss it Blood Bowl moments. I looked at the table. I saw the Dark Elf within scoring position with some help, and there was a white touching the Dark Elf. And I was like, oh, this is an easy score from this position. And I left. And I texted, and John Jennings texted me, "You got eyes on the Sean Bowl?" I was like, "Sure do. Looks like Sean's fixing to score." And I go to on lunch break because I'm actually expecting OT at this point. Because I think Sean might have been able to stall for like one turn. But he was probably going to score, and then Undead were going to get a chance to score back. And I think that would have turned into a 1-1. Now there's a chance that the Undead get stalled. But maybe, who knows? And I check my phone. I like leave the parking lot, and I check my phone across the street as I'm walking to go get Taco Loco. And it is the Undead turn, and there's no score on the table, and I'm like, oh, that was like really fast. Was that like double skulls? Was there double skulls thrown? Did like a big guy skull out and fail a loner and a pro? And then the rest of the game proceeds pretty fast because at this point, the Renegades are down a bunch of players, and the ball ended up getting scooped up by a ghoul who runs the other direction, puts the ball in on like 15 because you don't have to worry about a one turn anymore, and that's the ball game. And it was, like I said, it was like, what happened? And it turns out it came back asked, and it was a snake's dodge. Dark Elf just tripped over his own feet, coughed up the ball, and then the Undead scoop it up and run the other way.
Well, that is another player who was looking to get their name on the plaque for the first time has been removed from the pool. So
yeah, these villainous Sean.
Yeah. One day the other Sean will rise. It'll be glorious. But yeah, that was a 1-0 win for Rag and Bone. We have our in memoriam segment for the week. We got first up. I have a journeyman for Little Titans of Mayhem. Out of the 13 injuries, only one death, which is pretty.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, pretty good. We had Throt the Unclean, as we mentioned, for Skid by Skitter Stars. I don't think anyone will ever mourn.
6 strength big guy.
Yeah, no one's ever going to mourn that.
Yep.
So we had Turgan, a thrower for Gondolin Glory Hounds at your hands.
Yeah, that was the Crazy Teeth went like 12 turns without doing anything in the game, but rattled off 3 casualties in a row to help me close out the game.
Yep.
And that thrower was one of them.
Next, we had Thriggidi Flame Hands.
What a great name.
Those who wonder, yes. This is the point in the podcast where I'm obligated to say no Thriggidi.
And the guard stand firm block. Just a very respectable piece there.
Yep. Yes, blockers will block. That's how it's meant to be. It's in the name. Then we had a Nurgling for Oops, mostly Nurglings. And Hip Hop, the thrower for Renegades of Funk. Who actually gets to advance later into the playoffs, unlike the rest of his team.
Yeah, yep. He lives on. He might still get a ring. Who knows?
Yeah, he's joining the winning side. Yeah. Those are our in memoriam for the week. And for this point, I would say to all of you, rest now. We have to watch, and we'll see you in Valhalla. But we're going to take a quick break for some sort of ad, possibly Taco Loco, as you mentioned before.
Yeah.
Taco Loco should sponsor the league, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That'd be good. But yeah, we'll be back in a sec. We'll talk some Secret League and game previews.
Yeah.
All right, we are back and ready to talk about a secret.
The Secret League.
Yes, the Secret League. It's starting this week. We've got, as of recording, we got 16 people signed up, which I think is exciting. It's good.
Yeah, it's and it'll grow. So unlike other leagues, we're not playing this one to crown a champion per se. There might be a playoff. Who knows what it's going to look like. But the current plan is to run this for at least 6 weeks. We made an announcement in the Discord. And depending on when you listen to this podcast, the goal is to start pairings on Friday the 19th of September. Now, we'll keep registration open, and if more teams join, we'll just do another round of pairings with like fresh teams in the mix and stuff like that. So if we pick people up along the way, then that's fine. The if you plan on playing in season 10, then your entry fee for this season is goes towards that season, or it'll be free if you plan on playing the next season. So, but anyway, that's some of the particulars around the store regarding the league. I think the league itself is going to be funny because the teams are just crazy.
Yeah, you had to do some very ridiculous things, and it was like no holds barred. Like any team you wanted could get registered as long as it was like in to our play system. So we got some interesting things that people are going to be playing, and we got corn. Also.
Yeah.
So
somebody was trying to get some practice in for the regular season, and I feel like training in this league will be like the hyperbolic time chamber from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
It's like training in 8 times the Earth's gravity.
Yeah, I think like to me, I don't know, I would personally not be inclined to try out a regular team in this league just because I would be concerned if something's going to change on that roster in the new edition. Whereas like to me, the whole appeal of the Secret League stuff is playing something that is absurd in some fashion because there are so many absurd teams that you can play. There's like 80 different vampire teams. The craziest big guys you will ever see in your life exist on these rosters. And everyone has their own sort of justification for the teams they're taking. So, what are you planning on?
So I'm playing the Blood Dragon Vampires. I've stated on this podcast and many times in person that I felt like playing vampires again would be the sign of a low moral character. Or just a desire to win the league at the expense of everybody enjoying the game. However, I think these Blood Dragon Vampires are ethical. These are ethical vampires. Also, everybody else is playing absurd stuff, so I'm not going to be left out. The Blood Dragon Vampires are a goofy roster because they have more positionals than like the Legacy Vampires did. The Legacy Vampires were thralls plus vampires. The Blood Dragon Vampires have a Blood Dragon Vampire who is like a super blitzer, 6 speed, 4 strength, 3 plus agility, 3 plus passing, armor 10 plus. So lower agility, but can actually pass the ball on a not terrible roll. They are Bloodlust 3 plus. They have Hypnotic Gaze, which is going to work on a 3 plus and only 1 tackle zone because they're agility 3 plus. But they start with Juggernaut and Mighty Blow, and then they have Regeneration. So these are like I said, super blitzer vampires. I think because of you could take up to 6 of them. I think you would have to be insane to take 6 because they are all Bloodlust 3 plus, which means you are going to chew through your supply of thralls very fast. But they can take some extra pieces over just the generic thrall. They still have the generic thralls, but they can take these Graveguard, which are like sort of whites. They're kind of like whites on Shambling. They're kind of like super zombies because they have bad agility. They're like 4 plus agility instead of 3 plus agility. But they're 5 speed and 10 armor with block, which is kind of a bargain for 80k because they're actually cheaper than a regular white. The thing about the vampire team is that like the vampires are the ones that you trust to do literally everything on the team. But this team actually has some competent pieces at board positioning with these Graveguard. And you can take zombies. The big thing with vampires is that you have to kind of like put 3 thralls in the line and pray that they hold up. And usually, I mean, I don't know how many times I've played against people who would just knock all 3 thralls down, break armor on all of them, and either KO or casualty all of them. This team gets to you get to take zombies. You can take up to 4 zombies. Now, you can't use Bloodlust on the Graveguard or the zombies, so you still have to take thralls. But you've got zombies you can put on the line and let get beat up. So, I'm looking forward to playing the team. You get some badass vampires, and then you've got some extra undead just kind of hanging around. And I can assemble it from the necromantic and the vampire teams that I have sitting around. So that was part of the appeal to playing this team, was that I could actually represent the models accurately.
Yeah. Yeah, I have kind of been all over the place. I have a team registered currently. It might change, but there were a couple of things. When I was looking for my team, I wanted to find something that I could not normally do on a standard roster.
Yeah.
It's kind of my plan for it. So, like, some of the things are really interesting to me. I think the one I was looking at really hard was Clan Molder, which is the like stunty Skaven.
A
Where you can
lot of
take,
rat
like,
ogres.
yeah, it's like ogres, but with rat ogres instead of just regular ogres. And you also get a couple armored rat ogres, which have better armor and they have unchangeable fury instead of animal savagery. So that was kind of interesting to me. Like just having a bunch of having little rats swarming seems kind of absurd, but someone else registered that, and I think the thing I definitely don't want to do is like double up on anything in this league, because I think the appeal of this is going to be seeing as many different oddball teams as possible. And there's just so many cool teams, but the one I currently have registered is Clan Pestilence, which is another Skaven team, and it is just a bunch of it's like priests and monks. So it's like the sort of like religious fanatic sect of Skaven. I guess I'm not as big in all the Skaven lore. But the thing that stood out to this team is that you get two censer bearers, which are basically goblin fanatics that do not have secret weapon. So they get to stay on the field and just kind of go around and cause mayhem. The other thing that kind of appealing with this team as someone who hates getting bombed is every player starts with disturbing presence.
Yeah.
So
that's appealing. I gotta tell you.
Also in a league where I think there might be just like random passing stuff going on. Just like this is the entire field is just covered in a layer of just decay. Nothing can get through it. Or if you're trying to do a handoff, like you cannot do a handoff action against this team. Like you're never catching. It's going to be a 6, pretty much no matter where you are. So you get the two censer bearers. You have two plague priests that, in addition to serving presence, they're 7 move. The whole team is 3 agility, and outside of the ball and chain, they're all 7 movement. So it's a pretty fast team. Low armor, but the plague priests get to start with foul appearance, frenzy, and stand firm. So I have some frenzy stuff. Like frenzy, stand firm is kind of cool to have. Like you just randomly catch somebody with that. You get plague carriers, which have foul appearance and sure hands. So this kind of like appeals to me a little bit in the same Nurgle sense, or it's like randomly foul appearance will just randomly bail you out of a game.
It will.
Like you just like someone's gonna roll that one, and you're gonna be like, oh, I get to not even worry about it. Thanks for wasting your blitz. And then alignment are just like 8 armor. But having sure hands to start on a roster, I like having some frenzy. Like I don't know, I mostly want to see how far these ball and chains can go, to cause some mayhem. But
it's a goofy team for sure.
Yeah, they have it as like a tier 2, so like obviously there's a lot of other crazier teams you could play. Yeah. Like if I was like wanting to like try hard, if I was wanting to be sweaty for the Secret League, I'd probably play like Cathay or the Avalorn teams, because those teams look just good.
I mean they're just, I don't know. There are lots of wacky teams, right? There's a lot of teams that have like elf linemen, but then also have like some sort of big guy on them, right? Like there's just a lot of teams that are designed in such a way that like they would never actually make it to the table.
Yep.
The way the game is currently designed, but I think for screwing around, having fun with it, go for it.
Yeah, I'm excited to. Are there any teams that are like not currently represented in the league that you're hoping show up? Or maybe we can influence
Yeah, I got maybe everybody's just scared of playing vampires. I don't know. I actually thought like all these vampire teams would have been gobbled up, right? Because they're like you have the non you have like some vampire teams that don't have bloodlust,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you got like the Strigoi team that is like that's like a vampire team with like a bunch of claws dudes starting. And that team also has like a ghoul and has the boars, right? There's a lot of that that I thought for sure would have been played instead. So yeah, I mean, I think we got a pretty good spread. And I think as long as everybody just makes sure to not pick somebody else is selected, then yeah, we'll have a good league.
Yeah. Obviously, we can't like enforce that. Just kind of ask, but yeah, I would really like to see someone try this werewolf team out. I think the
Yeah,
werewolf team is
yeah, it's a
very
cool one.
hilarious.
You suddenly you're giving your opponent 400k in inducements.
Yeah, either you get 400k, you could either have like 6 werewolves or a bunch of human linemen and Griff. Like like or actually they can't even take Griff, can they? They're Sylvanian, so yeah. So you get a whole bunch of werewolves or you get Wilhelm, like or Luther randomly. Um, yeah, I mean there's so many cool teams. I would love to see someone play that or the Nautican team with the crabs
Yeah,
with sidestep. It's the one of the most flavorful skill additions I think is.
yeah. You got a 5 strength, 10 armor big guy with sidestep.
Yeah,
Like you just gum up any kind of cage, right? Like
yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Obviously, we're not adding any skills to anybody. It's just straight out of the kit, so it'll be interesting how that works out. But it's gonna be fun.
yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be a good send off to this edition of the game, since it'll be stuff that you don't get to do in the game really. And we're gonna have to learn all the rules over again anyway, so we may as well taste true power and then put it back in the box.
Yeah, and if it goes well, maybe we can have some crazy secret league tournament next year. I'll
Yeah.
I'll work on getting it sanctioned. If people want it, we'll make it happen. They'll just have to do some NAF correspondence or something.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to our games. We got 2 games we can preview without speculating. Um, first of that is happening Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I'm playing, yeah.
So we got Slaughterhouse 11, Necromantic State, Hellhounds.
This is another regular season repeat.
Mhm.
We've already played this one this season. That game ended in a draw, and it ended in a draw with an early departure of the blood spawn.
Mhm.
So let me say, I'm not eager to duplicate that again.
Yeah.
If I can help it. I think the game plan has changed since the last time.
Mhm.
Now, I selected to receive last time, and I did not do any damage to his team. I did damage to his team while I was on offense, or sorry, while I was on defense. That's where like most of my damage came from. I think maybe I kicked the ball to him because I actually think after playing that game, the person who had control of the ball, you have to use your entire team against the other person's entire team to really do any kind of damage, right? To put them in a position where and both of us have like some positional skills. Like obviously I'm moving him around, but he's got some skills that stop me from moving him around. He's got some sidestep. Now we both have the same amount of foul appearance. I've got like way more guard than he does now. But I think it's just like really hard to actually play offense and stall. I think you end up just like making a mad dash for the goal line. And so I think my game plan, and I don't relish the thought of having an offensive drive, and maybe I get some casualties, but I can't reliably use those casualties to get his players out of the game permanently. I don't relish the thought of going down the field. Maybe I can stall, maybe I can't. Giving him the ball back to get hit, having halftime happen, giving him the ball again, getting hit again, right? That to me, I don't know that my team can take that much punishment from his. And the flip side is true. I don't think his team can take that much punishment from mine. If I just get 2 drives of getting the alpha strike on them in a row, regardless of what happens in that first drive, I just have to go into the game with enough players. I think I went into the game with 16 last time, and he had like a whole bunch of players and 2 star players. I think I'd probably just do the exact same thing again. I swell my roster to 16. Now I've got a Beastman missing this game, and right now he's got enough money for Luther. I don't think he'll get enough money for Luther plus Wilhelm like he did in the regular. And honestly, I think both of them, you don't get full use of both if you're using both. Like, yeah, they're good, but you're like, he was blitzing with his flesh golems because they had mighty blow, or he's blitzing with a werewolf because it has claws, right? You don't want the star player points on Wilhelm. Like, you still want the star player points on your team. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure which way he's going to play it. If I give him too much money, he could do Wilhelm plus Wizard. I think that would be very difficult to play around. But then again, I wouldn't have to play around Hypnotic Gaze. I don't know. It's tough to say. I don't think I can go into the game with just 13, though. So, I don't have to worry about Morg, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the game's basically going to come down to who can... like, if we played in the regular... Like, if the regular season game had gone to overtime, I think I was down, like, 2 players. And he was down like 5 or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think I got to tuck in for like a fairly lengthy game. I'm still reeling from my playoff loss to John back in season 3, where he blitzed one of my Norse players every turn for like 5 turns in a row and casualtied them. So I would like to return the favor here if I could. So yeah, well, I'll just have to see how it all plays out, but I think it's going to be like a really grindy game. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of blocks, and maybe we'll get some armor breaks in there. So
yeah, we'll have a lot to talk about on the next episode.
Yeah,
and we got one more game. It is Title Terrors and Oops, mostly Nerdlings. How are you feeling with this one?
I think if Clay had enough experience, I don't hate his chances going into this game. I still think Clay being relatively new to the game he might just be walking into a buzzsaw here. I think when Chase is playing to win, especially in the playoffs, then he's coming into those games very well prepared with like a tailored plan to dissect his opponent. And so I think Clay is in trouble, but I don't want to write him off, if that makes sense. Because I do like skinks into snotlings, because they are very fast and you can like make plays for the ball with a bunch of skinks. And then the snotlings, normally the skinks are a liability versus some teams, but the skinks can get far enough away from all the models that can hurt them that you can end up fighting for the ball with just like a bunch of skinks and some snotlings. And the skinks are usually going to come out on top.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think I'm kind of in a similar thing. I wonder if the speed can kind of compensate. Like, my fear, there's like a scenario where I think Clay can take it. I would just be worried about how much damage his sources are going to take. Like, because
you could be in like really bad shape. So that's the conundrum, right? That's the thing you have to solve when playing against these Snotling teams. Is that you may not have, like, you might win the game, but you may not have a team left, and then you got to find a way to play the next playoff game without a team. Talking back to season 3, my route through the playoffs was round 1, a Snotling game against Will, and I took 9 casualties in that game, and I went into the next game with like 5 journeymen. Now, fortunately, I was playing Norse, and Norse journeymen are particularly good, but I mean, that journeyman skinks aren't particularly good. So,
yeah, interesting to see. I think that one will be. I mean, both these games I think are going to be good. I think that one is going to be kind of teetering. It could either be like really good, or it could get very ugly very quickly.
Right. I think if Clay gets the ball first, he actually has enough strength to push around, say, the giant, plus some. Like, he might be able to just throw enough blocks off the line to knock over those big guys. And you spike like a good casualty. You spike a casualty on the giant, you spike a casualty on a troll at the start of the game, and your chances are much, much better.
Yep.
Right? But if you spend the whole game getting out muscled, your chances are much, much worse.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, we will see. All right. Well, that's the thing about playoffs, is you run out of games to talk about.
Yeah,
very
pretty fast. we get to dive into them and get to talk about the secret league. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is going to do it for me this week. Unless you have any other last second thoughts?
Last second thoughts? No.
Okay.
None.
Okay.
It'd have to be Idris Elba going into the Pacific Rim. I had to take nothing with me into the combat, into this game against Jennings.
All right, fair enough. Well, we enjoy having y'all listen to us pour all of our thoughts out in front of this microphone every week. Make sure you're following us on whatever platform you are listening, and you can tell your friends to go follow us on that platform and anywhere else they're listening. Catch us on YouTube, leave a comment, like, subscribe, whatever it is, wherever you are, that will get us more notoriety and send us out further into the web space.
We're becoming content brained.
Yes, exactly. And we're going to do our deep dive next week is on SEO. So be prepared for that. But,
passive income.
Yes.
How your Blood Bowl team will keep paying for itself well into your 60s.
Yes. Yep. This podcast is brought to you by Nufflecoin. Anywho, I'm going to go back to work. So see y'all next week.
Goodbye.